Hello guys, and welcome back to Odoo Tech. Today we are building an asset management app for Odoo 18, which will allow users to manage company assets efficiently. The key features of this app include tracking assets, which will allow coding and maintaining a list of assets such as computers, furniture, or vehicles. Then depreciation calculation automatically calculates the value of assets over time based on a defined depreciation rate. Employee assignment, assign assets to specific employees to keep track of accountability. Categorization, organize assets into categories for better management. So today, by using Odoo 18, we will develop a module called asset management, custom asset management. And in that, the directory status will be, first we will create init file and manifest file. Okay, we will talk it later. First, let me just explain it to you. If we go in settings, you can see the Odoo version we are using at the moment. It's Odoo 18, which is here, Odoo 18 Enterprise Edition. And it's in developer mode at the moment. So you can see this icon as well. So by clicking it, we can activate the developer mode. At the moment, no applications, not all applications have been installed, but we have basic sales, dashboard, invoicing settings available. But along with all these applications, what we are going to do, we will create a new application called asset management. And for that, we need to create a custom module. And for that, we are using Visual Studio Code as always. So here you can see in Odoo 18, I have got custom, which is my custom add-ons folder. So in this folder, what I'm going to create a new folder, which is called custom asset management. Right. And in this folder, we will create another folder which is called models, and then in models folder we will create a new file which will call asset.asset.py. This is a Python file. Then in custom asset, in this module, we will create a new file which will be underscore init __.py, and then we will create a new file in this module which will be _ manifest.py. So these two files are in the directory base init.py and manifest.py, and then we have created a models folder, and in that model folder there is our asset.py file, and we will also create a new file here which will give the name asset underscore So new file asset underscore category .py. These two files so far. And also in models, we will create a new file which will be __init __.py. Right. We will also create a new folder in this module called views. Then we will also create a new folder which will call security, because we are creating new modules. Then we will also create one more folder which will be static. Okay. Each file in this structure has a specific role in making the app functional. So then next step, what we are starting with is a manifest file. So this is the configuration file for the app. It tells Odoo the app's name, version, and description. Dependencies, other apps it relies on, like HR files to load, such as views and security rules. So what I'm going to do, because this app is a bit longer file, and lots of files will be in this app, and it's a proper functional, so that's why instead of writing each line by line, what I'm going to do, I will just paste the code in a file and then I will explain it to you what I have done. So for that, I'm just going to paste my manifest file first of all. So here I will start with the manifest. So here, so first of all, the name. So basically this is the name of the module, and the name of the module as it appears in the Odoo's apps menu. This is what users see when searching for the module in Odoo. Then version specifies the version of the module, useful for tracking updates or debugging when multiple versions of the module. Number 3, module summary. So here, manage company assets effectively, a short online description of the module shown in the Odoo apps menu and the module description area. Then the detailed description. So in here, it provides a more detailed explanation of the module's functionality. Appears on the module's detailed page in the Odoo apps menu. Then module category, which is here. I've given custom categorizes the module in the Odoo's apps menu. Helps users find the module under a specific category like custom or accounting. Then the author. So here you can just write your name, who is designing this module or app. So for this, we'll say Odooistic. Okay, and then depends. So it depends, lists the modules this module depends on. The core Odoo module required for all custom modules. HR adds functionality for employee management. So how it works, the module will not install unless all dependencies are already installed. Then the data files. So here, the first in security, we are going to add permissions for model. That's why we need this file. Then in views, asset_asset_ views, this file defines list and form views for the asset.asset model. And then views asset category views for the other Python file. It defines list and form views for the asset category model. Then the third one, we will also create another XML file, which is for the menu structure for the modules. So I hope you understand all this manifest file and why we use this. Then in this init file, we will just initialize models because we are going to use models, as you can see here. That's why we need to give the reference in this init file. Now start with the first folder, which is models, and in this we start with this from the first file, which is asset_asset, then the second, which is asset_category. That's it. Because these two files are part of this model, so that's why we need to give reference in this init file. So first we start with asset_asset file. So this file initializes the app's Python modules. It ensures Odoo can recognize and load the models defined in the models folder. And the code, let me just copy the code for this one. Okay, so this is the full code of this file. So first I start with the first line, from.import so in here, models used to define model class here, and fields used to define the fields. API provides decorators like at api.depends for logic execution. And then the line number 3, we are also importing Odoo exceptions. From Odoo exceptions, we are importing validation error. This is for providing a functionality where we can generate some errors rather than we get errors from the system. Then line number 5, here we are defining the model. So name is equal to asset.asset. This is the name, technical name for the module. Description, a short description of the model. Then line number 9, here we are defining a field, which is a character field, a text field to store the name of the asset. Then we have got category ID. So this is a many-to-one, links this model to the asset.category, which we will create a new model in second file. So what we are doing here, we are creating a field name, category ID, and we are creating a relation many-to-one with that model, which is asset.category. And in this one default, it's basically pick the first default value, the first category in that model. Then the third one is third field on line number 16 is value. So basically float used to store decimal numbers, and this field holds the purchase value of the asset. Then purchase date, a date field basically stores the date when the asset was purchased. Then depreciation rate, this is also float field and represents the depreciation rate as a percentage. Then employee ID, this is also a many-to-one, links this model to the hr.employee model to assign the assets to an employee. And then the current value, this is also float field, and it has also has a compute which we are using. You can see later, compute current value, a method, and then store is equal to true. It will store actually in the database. Okay, now business logic for depreciation. Here I have just written a business logic for defining depreciation on the basis of purchase date, depreciation rate, and value. So what is the logic? It calculates the number of years since the purchase. Use this formula, which is current value is equal to value multiplied by, then in bracket we are depreciation 1 minus, and then in bracket depreciation underscore rate by 100, and then we are multiplying with years. So basically this is a depreciation formula which I will share with you guys. So by using that depreciation logic, I have just used this in this method. And now this method where API.constraints category ID, employee ID. So basically purpose for this is specifies the fields to watch for changes. Number 1 is category ID and second is employee ID. A many-to-one field linking an asset to category and many-to-one field linking an asset to an employee. Then this is the name of the method, which is underscore check many-to-one fields. This is the name, and inside this bracket self, the self parameter represents the records being processed. Then we are iterating on self in self, and then we are checking if not category dot record dot category underscore ID. So it means ensure the category ID field is not empty. If category ID is empty, a validation error is raised with the message category is required. And then if not record dot employee ID, then again a validation error is raised with the message assigned employee is required. So this is how it works. You can also create your own logic, but my point is just to tell you in simple words that what I have done, and you can also create your own logic, your own business logic according to your requirement. Okay, then in next file, a file which is called asset.category model. And as you know, in line number 3, I'm again defining the model. Then a field at the name here, the name of the model, and then description about the model. Then the first field I have created, which is on line number 7. This is just the name of that category, and then description. So if you want, we want to give some description about that category, we can do it in text, which is a little bit longer than character. Okay, so how these models work together. So basically asset.asset, this one represents individual assets. Each asset is linked to a category and employee. And then the second model, which is asset_category.py Python file, this represents a grouping for assets such as furniture or electronics. When creating a new asset, the user selects a category from the asset.category model. The current value of the asset is automatically computed based on the purchase date, purchase value, and depreciation rate, which I have just defined in the business logic. So this file defines, and now let's create XML files, views and trees and menus. So we go in views, and the first file we will create is, just a second. So this is asset_asset_ views. Also here, asset_asset_ views. Then the second one, first create this one. Okay, so this is the file. This file defines the list view and form view for the asset.asset model. These views control how the user interacts with asset data in Odoo. The first is the list view. This one, line number 3 to line number 15. And a list view that shows a grid-like structure of all assets. Fields displayed: name, category ID, value, current value, and employee ID. All these views will be included in the list view. Please note that until Odoo 17, here we were using tree before, but now Odoo has changed in Odoo 18 to list. The second one is a form view for this model, and a form view for creating and editing assets. Fields included: name, category ID, value, purchase date, depreciation rate, current value, and employee ID. And then last but not the least is action for assets. So basically this connects the views list and form of the asset.asset model to the Odoo's UI. This action allows the assets menu to show these views when clicked. This action is typically linked to a menu item. For example, in your menus .xml file which I'm going to create, we will create a menu and then we will link this action with that menu. So when we will click in that menu, then this action will trigger and it will open first the list view and then the form view. Right. Now the second view file is asset_category views .xml. Let's again map it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is the file. Again, the first one is view asset category tree, and the name will be displayed in that tree, category name and description of the category. Then this is a form view, and in this form view as well there are two fields only, name and description. And then last but not the least is action, which is connected, which we will connect it later. The name of this action is action_asset category. This will connect the views, list and form of the asset.category model to Odoo's UI. And this action is linked to the categories menu to show these views when clicked. Now the third file, which is the menus. So we will get it from our manifest file. Which is menus.xml. Right. So this file defines the menu structure for the asset management app. It links the previously defined actions to the menus. So the first one, menu item ID is equal to menu asset management and name is asset management, sequence is 10. This is just a base menu, which will be a small menu item on the main dashboard with name asset_management. And then there is second menu, which is menu assets. And in this one, the parent is menu asset management, which is the first one, this one. So what it means that once we will click this one, then it will create this action assets, which is action assets, which is here. If you see action assets. So when we click that menu, it will open the list view and form view for the asset.asset module. You got my point? And then the third menu, which is menu asset categories, and the menu is menu asset management. So basically this one, this menu also will be residing in the parent, this one, but the action is different, action asset categories, which is this one. So this will open the list view and form view for this model, which is asset.category. So this file will create our menus. And then last but not least, we need to create a security file for our permissions. So which is here, ir.model.access.csv. So we will create it here. Okay. So the ir.model.access.csv file defines access rights for models in the Odoo module. It controls who can read, write, create and delete records in the database. So this file is essential for ensuring proper security and avoiding unauthorized access to sensitive data. So the first, as you can see, this ID, this is unique identifier for the access rule. Then the name is human readable name for the access rule. Then the model underscore ID specifies the model the rule applies to. Then group underscore ID, this is for the user group for which this rule is defined. You can add any group ID here if you want. And then the prim read, 1 allowed or 0 not allowed for reading records. Then for writing, 1 allowed or not allowed for writing, 0 for not allowed for writing. Then prim create, this is also 1 allowed or 0 not allowed. So as you can see, I have just given full visibility now, just to give full access. So I have given access model custom in the first, for the first line, for the first model. This is just the unique ID, then the name, then model underscore asset. This is actually applies this rule to the asset.asset model. And then base.group underscore user restricts this rule to the internal user group. Default Odoo group for logged in users. And I have given full access 1111. Then the same for the next model as well. Okay, this is done. And now in static, what we need to create a new folder, which is description. This is for the icon. And then in description, I will just add okay. I have just added this icon to give icon for this module. So I believe we have done everything, and now this is time to activate this module and run this module and see what will happen. Okay, and what we need to do, we need to go back in our Odoo and we need to run our Odoo service as well before that. And then in UI, what we need to do, we need to click on apps. Sorry, I think it's running. Okay, we need to click on apps and we need to make sure that our developer mode is on by this small extension or by going in settings and activating the developer mode. After that, we need to click here, update apps list. Before doing that, I need to show you the dashboard. So as you can see, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 apps at the moment, and there is no asset management. So we go again in apps and we need to search here the name of the manifest file. So here in the module name, in manifest file, the best thing we need to do, we need to copy this and paste it here. And once you do that, your module has been accessed and you can see your module is here. One more thing, because we have saved this module in our custom modules, so what we need to do in our configuration file, so if you see in Odoo 18, there is a configuration file, which is this one. So here we have given this path. So please make sure for custom add-ons, you need to give a path wherever you are trying to save your module. So we come back to our code and we have got this module. We need to click on activate. So in the background you can see all these, because we are depending on HR as well. It is installing all the depending modules as well. So it will take a little bit time, but it's really good for learning. You should know that why it is doing that. So because in manifest file, we have got dependencies of base and HR. So all these HR dependencies it is installing. So once it's installed, you can see one app on your dashboard, which is called asset management. Once you click this, you will see a tree view, which is for asset management. And here you have got assets and categories. So first we start with new assets. So this one, we say computer number, or we say HR computer desktop. There are no category at the moment. So what we do, we just right click and open link in a new tab. And here, this is category. So what we do, we create two categories. One is for IT stuff. And create a new one, which is furniture general. Okay. Once we save it, now we will be able to get categories here. IT stuff, or so we say IT stuff, yes. Purchase value for this desktop is 300, and purchase date was, we say, we bought this computer in 10th of July 2024. And now depreciation rate, we need to define 5%. Once we do that, the value, you can see it has been depreciated just because of that formula which I have applied. And now I am going to assign this to who? These are all the employees. So I'm going to define to assign to Doris Cole, because I like Doris Cole. Save it, and now you can see these assets in the tree view. So this is a tree view. When I click it, a form view is opened. And now the categories as well, this is the tree view for that category. If I click it, then this is the category form view. I hope you like this flow. I hope you like this structure. I hope you like the approach which I'm trying to adopt. I believe it's very simple. I believe I have explained it very well. But again, if you need to ask any questions, you can just ask anything in the comments below. Please like this channel. This is your channel. Subscribe it and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.